Desiree Wilson actually will lead the field into the first turn in car number 34. Then Rick Mears, that's Dick Ferguson down on the inside, and Kevin Cogan is following Rick Mears. Now coming down through turn 1. Mears begins to close on Desiree, and Desiree loses it. Wilson into the wall. Mears gets by. Cogan gets by. Now several other cars involved. Several cars spinning as they come off the first turn. A car up over the wall. It slides down, pieces coming off of it. Several cars spinning. A serious and major accident here as we came back to the green flag. No movement in either car. That looks like John Paul Jr., the winner of the Michigan 500. No movement in his car. Desiree Wilson's car, the crews are there with her. She does not appear to be moving in the cockpit either. So a serious accident here. Chuck Sifrich is setting stop. Gordy, let's look at it.
Yes, Paul. It looks like Desiree just starts to lose it there. It gets sideways. The car spins around. She hits the wall directly head on. Very luckily, by looks of the car, that's no worse than it is. And the rest of them coming from behind. You can see Scott Brayton there getting slowed down whatsoever. But here comes another car. Goes right over the top of Scott Brayton. It looks like John Paul Jr. And he is very lucky. It looks like he almost went over the wall.
John Paul Jr. very close, rode up on top of this boilerplate wall here and comes to a stop. Now, Chuck Sifrich is okay, but they are working at both John Paul Jr.'s car and Desiree Wilson's car. Now, as they pull debris away from the cockpit area of John Paul Jr., he stands up. Remember, he has 2 broken legs. He's still healing from broken legs suffered at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in practice during the month of May. But as he steps down, apparently he's okay. He waves the crew away like he's all right. And Desiree Wilson, the indication is that she is all right as well, as the rest of the field comes through. But we do have reports that several other cars coming through that accident scene were involved, and there may be damage to at least 3 other race cars.
One thing you got to worry about right there, Paul, there is a lot of debris on the racetrack there, and you have to watch that you don't run over some of that and get a puncture in your tire, you know. And
there's evidence of it. Scotty Brayton, look at all the damage on the side of the car.
He's got a flat right rear tire there, and there's
Garza.
His front wing is completely gone on his car.
Bobby Rahal, his crew changing all 4 tires. He was in the accident as well and apparently flat-spotted. That is, wore off one side of the tire and had to be changed. Gordy will look at it again as Desiree hits the wall head-on.
Yes, and I think the reason that Bobby Rahal, I think if you watch here close, I think you see Bobby Rahal right there in your circle. You can see Bobby Rahal spinning, and he's flat spotting the tires. And if he goes back to running 200 miles an hour, the car would be so out of balance that he wouldn't be able to handle it. It would pretty apt to shake something loose on the car.
But a marvelous piece of driving by both Rahal and Sifrich. Rahal manages to spin it 360 degrees, scrubbing off a lot of speed. That kept him from getting into the side of Desiree's car and drives around. Sifrich stalled on the course. Mario Andretti, who the crews had to give a push to get started again, has some damage to the nose of his car. In fact, here he comes over to the wall. Now, what he's done there is he's showing the nose of the car to the crew member at the wall so they can look at it and see what they might be able to do to repair it.
And, Paul, here in Jose Garza's pit, you can see no front nose wing on the number 55 car. Bevan Weston and the crew trying a makeshift job of taping up the nose. You can't help but wonder how dramatically the handling characteristics are going to change on this car as Jose pulls away.
So they're still under caution at the Pocono 500 in the aftermath of a most serious accident, but fortunately we're able to report no serious injuries. In fact, at this moment, John Paul is with Gary.
John, we understand you came away from one that was really a potentially close call. Can you tell us what you were able to see or how it set up or what happened?
Well, I don't really know who started the spin, but 2 cars started spinning in the middle of the pack, and I went to swerve out to the outer edge against the wall there, and someone locked up the brakes and come my way, so I just had nowhere to go and stuffed it right into the wall.
You were apprehensive coming into this race, only a couple of times on oval tracks. Obviously, this does not help that apprehension in the future.
Well, if I can survive 2 of these in a row, I'll be all right.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.
Still clearing the wreckage from the accident as they bring Desiree Wilson's car in. She, the second woman in the Pocono 500. Janet Guthrie in 76 and 77, the first. Scott Brayton also involved in that accident. He's with Gary.
Scott, this was really a tough one over there. Tell us what you were able to see and in your view, what happened.
Well, what happened to me is there's some cars that got loose up in front of me, somebody spun and I think hit the wall. I'm not sure. I seen some debris. Steve Chassie was directly in front of me, and he was on the brakes hard, and I was coming up on him to close and trying to brake to keep from hitting him. And so I started up the track at all, and just at that time is when John Paul hit my rear tire and came over the top of me.
Young Scotty Brayton, but he's all right after that accident as well. So the caution is still out. Now, let's join Donna Deverona for the final survival of the fittest, the women's survival page with Gordon Johncock and Gary Gerald, and we're back at the